Hello everyone, and welcome back to another monthly reading wrap-up, except I didn't do one last month, so this is August and September's reading wrap-up. I didn't do one last month because I barely read in August. I think I read like 4 books, so I was like, there's no point in doing a video. I was just really busy in August. I moved, school started, was kind of in a slump, but I've read a lot in September, so I finally have enough compiled to do this video. I'm gonna work backwards, starting with what I've been reading back to what I've read in the beginning of August, because I've talked about a lot of the books from August already. So I want to talk about the new ones first that I've been recently reading. So the book I'm currently reading and about to be done with is Icebreaker by Hannah Grace. I am obsessed. I should have known I was gonna love it because my friend Ellie recommended it to me. She's been working for like this author and like I think doing her promotions and stuff for this book, and she's killing it because I've seen this book everywhere. But rightfully so though, because this book is so good. It's unlike anything I've ever read, even though it is a sports romance. It's figure skater, hockey player. I've never read a book where the characters have such good communication skills. If you hate the miscommunication trope, read this book, because this is the opposite of the miscommunication trope. They say exactly what they feel, exactly how things make them feel, why they react to things, why they act a certain way. They're just so good at communicating. It was like pretty steamy, and I wasn't expecting it from this cute little innocent cover. I also thought it was important to include that there are so many like party scenes where they go to parties and see each other, and there's a lot of jealousy trope, and just everything that I eat up is in this book. And there's also forced proximity, and they're forced to like team up and work together. So I just am obsessed with this book. I can't make any final judgments because I'm not finished with it yet, but I think this is gonna be a series and I absolutely cannot wait. It might be one of my new favorites because this was just so good, and the couples it hints out for the other books is just so exciting, and I could not recommend Icebreaker enough. It lives up to the hype and you should definitely read it. I'm currently obsessed. Then right before that, I read The Falling Trilogy by Hughes. This is out of order. This is a 3-book series about one couple, which I haven't read a series about one couple in a while, so I was really looking forward to this, and it's been on my TBR forever, and I love Maya Hughes' other sports romances. This one was okay for me. I'd probably give it like 3.5, 4 stars. Like I definitely would recommend it, but I didn't get very attached to the characters, which is surprising since it's 3 books long. I don't know why I didn't get very attached. I found myself like kind of wanting the books to end so I could get on to the next one, which is how I know that I'm not really loving a book, is when I just like kind of want it to be over. I felt like it was a little bit repetitive because it's not even second chance romance, it's third chance romance. So you see them when they met for the first time and it's in high school, or it's popular boy, like football player, jock, nerdy girl trope, and it's kind of insta-lovey to me, and then they have a falling out, and then a few years later it's their second chance, which is the second book, where they reunite and they're in forced proximity. They talk through all their issues that happened in their first relationship, but then something happens and they can't be together. It's like right person, wrong time, and then they get a third chance, and that's their last book. In the last one, they're kind of grown up. It's way later, and you follow them over a span of like 10 years, and I found that really cool, and I would definitely recommend it, especially if you love the second chance romance trope, because then you get that twice. I don't know why, I just didn't really connect with the characters. If you read Fulton U, the boy in this book appears a lot in Fulton U because he actually lived with them, and I thought he was gonna get a book in Fulton U, but they actually just gave him his own series, which I thought that was really cool, the whole tie-in. The characters from Fulton U are mentioned in these books a few times. There was parts of this that was really sad, but people told me I would cry and I didn't, so I don't know. You should try it for yourself though. I love Maya Hughes' books. Right before that, I read Twisted Hate by Huang, which is the 3rd book in the Twisted series. I still haven't read the last one, which I heard is the best one, so we'll see. I need to read that. I enjoyed this book. I heard such mixed things that I didn't know how I was gonna feel. I'm very like neutral on the first 2 books. Like I didn't love them, but I didn't hate them. And that's again how I felt with this one. This one is Enemies with Benefits, which I've never read before. And it's also Best Friend's Brother. And I thought it was really interesting and actually good. I was never like bored while reading it, but there are some like miscommunications and like unnecessary conflict that frustrated me a lot. But other than that, it was good. Then, right before reading that, I read Malibu Rising again. 2nd time this year by Taylor Jenkins Reid. This time I read it because I had a different copy that I annotated fully, like every sentence I swear I annotated, to give to my best friend for her birthday because she hasn't read it yet, but we both are obsessed with Taylor Jenkins Reid. So I was really excited to do that for her, and my copy is not even annotated. I'm kind of jealous that she got a fully annotated one. But yeah, I gave that to her when I was in New York City. I don't know why I didn't give it any synopsis on this book, so I'll give a little bit of one now. Follows this girl, Nina, and she's the oldest of 4 siblings, and her whole life she's basically mothered them and taken care of them. Her dad abandoned their family and went off and became a really famous musician, and Nina kind of had to take charge. The mom was having some issues, and it flashes back and forth from her mom and dad falling in love and all of their issues, and then it flashes back to the present perspective where Nina and her siblings are throwing a party, and follows them over a span of 1 full day. and it shows all the different 4 siblings and all of the different little events that are happening to them on that day, and it is so chaotic and so interesting. You see how much the parents' relationship that you're seeing unfold, how that influences and affects all of the children, and how like history starts repeating itself and how the kids learn from it and their different traumas, and it is just so good, and I think everyone should read it. Oh, it's just so good. It was so fun rereading it. I love that book. Right before that, I read The Roommate by Rosie Dannon, and this is the book that finally pulled me out of my slump, so that's why I was able to read so much. I think I was reading this towards the beginning of September, so I've read like a decent amount of books this month for someone that's like trying to do full-time school and traveling for work. So I liked this book a lot as well. Obviously, this is roommate trope. The girl Clara moves to California because she's in love with her childhood best friend, and she's gonna move in with him, but then the childhood best friend is like, actually, I'm going out of town, so you're gonna have to live with this random man I found on Craigslist who's living in my house instead. And she's like, what? No, I just moved here because I wanted to be with you. She doesn't say that, but she ends up meeting the roommate, and they like kind of become friends, and then she finds out that he is in the adult entertainment industry, and she's very intrigued by this, and she's kind of like a good girl, whatever, and she's intrigued by his lifestyle, and then they become really good friends, and then they become like friends with benefits, and then it becomes a romance, and I thought it was really good. It's pretty steamy, as you can tell. And there's a new cover. I have the old cover. There's a new cover that there's no people on it. Okay, there's 4 books left, but I've talked about all these in my good boy, bad girl recommendation video, but I'm just gonna talk about them again, so that's why I put them at the end. First, The Bride Test by Huang. It's so hard to explain the premise of this book, but basically Kai, the main guy in this book, feels like he has no feelings, no emotions, and then Esme is working as like a cleaner in Vietnam, and one day this woman who looks really like rich and expensive comes up to her and is like, you should come meet my son. You're really beautiful and I really like your vibe and I want you to marry my son. And she's like, what? And she's like, yeah, please come to America and meet him. If you don't like him, you don't have to marry him, but I'll pay for you to come to America and meet him. Esme's like, what? No. But then Esme tells her mom and grandma, and her mom and grandma are like, no, go, it's a free vacation, like you should just go. And so Esme's like, okay, fine, I'll just go. And she ends up going and meeting Kai. There's forced proximity because they're like living together, and Kai's like annoyed with his mom, like, this is so embarrassing, why are you trying to set me up with this random woman? Esme starts getting closer with Kai, and they start developing kind of like an understanding for each other. It's like roommates, and eventually a romance starts unfolding. They start really caring for each other, but Kai does not understand his feelings, and you learn that throughout the book that Kai actually has autism, and that's why he feels this way, and they're trying to like learn from each other and understand each other and learn how it's best to love each other, and I thought it was so sweet and so cute. It did get a little frustrating, but I really enjoyed it. Then a little bit of a darker romance, I read Lotus by Jennifer Hartman. So this book is about Oliver, who was kidnapped when he was a child and held in captivity for 20 years. His brother and his childhood best friend Sydney are still living in the same houses where Oliver grew up, so they're still neighbors. And then one day Gabe calls Sydney and says they found Oliver, and Oliver comes home after being in captivity for 20 years, and he's obviously very timid and reserved, kind of in shock, but him and Sydney immediately like have this like bond and trust for each other, and it ends up being Oliver and Sydney's romance, and it is so sweet because he's so wholesome and innocent. And if you liked Archer's Voice by Mia Sheridan, you'll love this book because it's the same vibe with the like devotion that he feels towards her is unmatched. I loved this book. And then the last 2 books I read were another series, the Good Old Boy series by MJ Hendrix, which are good boy, bad girl tropes. Oh, so good. I can't wait for the rest of the books in this series. I talked about this a lot in my recommendation video, but I am obsessed with this series. It's everything I could imagine wanting in like a companion novel series. So the first book is about Harley and Adam, and Adam is basically grown up on a farm in a very religious family with his 4 like close guy friends, and he somehow convinces his parents to let him and his 4 friends go to the local like university a few hours away and live on campus and get the college experience. For the first time, they're like leaving their like farm life. The first day he gets there, he sees this girl covered head to toe in tattoos, wearing really like tiny clothes, like something he's never seen before, and he's immediately like taken aback and so intrigued by her and like so drawn to her. And that is the main girl, Harley, and it ends up being their romance, and he is so innocent and so cute and so sweet, and it's just like opposite attract, but also when they get to know each other they realize they actually have a lot more in common than they would think, and he gets really protective of her, and so good. And then the second book, Seeing Double, is about Harley's roommate Kenna, who's like super popular, super outgoing, like sunshine, everyone loves her, everyone at school knows her, but she has a crush on Adam's friend Levi, who is like even more shy, even more reserved, and even more nerdy than Adam was, and he's just just like so quiet, never goes out, and Kenna has had the biggest crush on him, but Levi has no idea because he's literally so like naive and clueless. And over the course of the book, like Levi starts figuring out, oh my god, Kenna might like me, but then he convinces himself it's not true because she's so out of his league, and like Kenna's like obsessed with him, but like he won't take her hints, so she's getting really frustrated and she doesn't understand. Levi's just so shy and nervous, he doesn't know what to do around her, and it's so cute and I really enjoyed it. So that's the last book I read in August. Those are all the books I've read the past 2 months. I hope I banged that out pretty quickly, but I've had really good reading months recently. Like all the books I've read, I've enjoyed. I haven't had any like flops. Those are all the books I've read. I hope you enjoyed seeing this. I hope you got some good recommendations. If you want to follow me on my other social medias, they're all linked down below as always. I'm always posting my book quotes, my current reads on my Instagram, so you can check that out. With all that being said, I'll see you in my next video very, very soon. Bye!